President Trump has sparked fresh controversy.
The 33-second video starts with scenes of destruction in Gaza.
President Trump posted what appeared to be an AI-generated video on his Truth Social account. It's basically a promotion for his plan for Gaza, which is to essentially turn the enclave into a lavish Gulf resort.
These images just, they shock you, and then you laugh, and then you go, what are we doing and where are we living?
The future version of Gaza, if it were occupied by the United States.
Donald Trump posted a video that took the internet by storm. It wasn't a campaign ad, a policy speech, or a rally clip.
President Donald Trump shares an AI video of his vision for Gaza on social media.
It was an AI-generated video portraying Gaza as a luxurious resort, complete with golden beaches, high-rise hotels, and, of course, a grandiose golden statue of Trump himself.
Donald Trump's vision for what he says is his vision of Rivera of the Middle East Gaza takeover plan. Here you can see the city transformed into a glitzy, lavish Dubai-style resort where you can see skyscrapers, luxury yachts, people and Trump partying.
The video was posted on his Truth Social account and seemed to serve as a promotional piece for his vision of Gaza's future.
The US President Donald Trump has shared an AI-generated video promoting his vision for the reconstruction of the Palestinian territory Gaza.
One that completely ignores the war, devastation, and humanitarian crisis currently engulfing the region. Instead, it presents a bizarre utopian image of a transformed enclave, one that has traded war-torn streets for luxury golf courses and casinos. The visuals are almost cartoonishly absurd. Sparkling blue waters, tourists basking in the sun, sleek high-rise buildings dotting the skyline. This isn't just a futuristic projection.
Donald Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu bathing in Gaza.
It's a complete fantasy. The accompanying song, a dramatic and almost satirical anthem, promise a golden future. No more tunnels, no more fear. The message is clear. Trump sees Gaza not as a humanitarian disaster zone, but as prime real estate waiting to be redeveloped.
President Trump posted what appeared to be an AI-generated video on his Truth Social account. It's basically a promotion for his plan for Gaza, which is to essentially turn the enclave into a lavish Gulf resort.
The backlash was immediate. Journalists, political analysts, and social media users alike reacted with a mixture of shock, laughter, and outrage.
These images just, they shock you, and then you laugh, and then you go, what are we doing and where are we living?
The question many are asking is, why? Why post this now? Why frame the future of Gaza in terms of a real estate makeover as if the ongoing suffering, the loss of lives, and the geopolitical complexities can be solved with the wave of a developer's hand? Trump's history of viewing geopolitics through a business lens is nothing new. When he met North Korea's Kim Jong-un, reports emerged.
Donald Trump didn't disappoint, not just stepping, but positively striding into history books, the first sitting American president to meet a leader in the North.
That he pitched beachfront property development to the dictator, imagining a North Korean coastline lined with resorts. Now he seems to be applying that same mindset to Gaza. The video comes at a time when negotiations for a ceasefire in Gaza are at a standstill.
At the monthly briefing on the Middle East in the UN Security Council, a clear call for the ceasefire in Gaza to hold.
And I call on both sides to fully honor their commitments to the ceasefire deal and conclude negotiations for the second phase.
Israel's military operations continue, tensions remain high, and hopes for long-term peace are as fragile as ever. The Saudi defense minister was recently at the Pentagon discussing security concerns in the region.
Our relationship is a critical center of gravity in a very turbulent region in the world. So I want to thank the kingdom also, more specifically, for hosting important discussions between the United States.
While families of hostages and victims on both sides are desperately seeking some kind of resolution. Trump's AI-generated vision, however, does not address security, governance, or peace building. Instead, it presents an unrealistic and deeply insensitive vision that ignores the core issues. It is not a roadmap for reconstruction, but rather an illustration of Trump's tendency to reduce complex international crises to business deals. How does this land with Palestinians? For those suffering under bombardment, the idea of a Las Vegas-style transformation must seem detached from reality. For those advocating Palestinian self-determination, the notion of a Trump-branded enclave is not just absurd, but offensive. Even among Trump's own supporters, reactions are mixed. Some see it as classic Trump, bold, unapologetic, and ambitious. Others worry that it trivializes a serious conflict, making it harder to take his foreign policy position seriously. This is not the first time Trump has branded himself in grandiose imagery. Recently, he has taken to calling himself King Trump.
President Trump yesterday called himself a king as he moved to take on this traffic issue here in New York.
Leaning into self-mythologizing in ways that blur the line between reality and self-parody. But beyond the spectacle, this video does raise an important question. What exactly would a Trump administration do differently in the Middle East? If this AI-generated vision is any indication, it suggests a focus on economic redevelopment without addressing the deep political and humanitarian crises at play. Meanwhile, as negotiations for a ceasefire remain stagnant, the region faces the prospect of prolonged conflict. Netanyahu's government is facing pressure from multiple directions, including protests within Israel, international scrutiny, and the ongoing security challenge of Hamas. The release of hostages has not led to breakthroughs in peace talks, and Israel's military incursions continue. Many are questioning whether Netanyahu is aligning himself with Trump's approach or pursuing a different path entirely. Trump's video, however unserious it may appear, does highlight one thing. He remains fixated on branding, spectacle, and grandiosity rather than the diplomatic and humanitarian complexities of the situation. Furthermore, Trump's video fails to acknowledge the deep political divide that underpins the Israel-Palestine conflict. The region's struggles are not just about economic hardship, they are about identity, sovereignty, and decades of territorial disputes. A high-rise casino will not resolve these tensions. Critics argue that this video is just another example of Trump's broader approach to governance, one that prioritizes spectacle over substance. His administration was often characterized by grandiose statements and ambitious promises that lacked clear policy follow-through. This video, with its unrealistic vision of a glittering Gaza, fits that pattern perfectly. But there's another, more cynical way to view this move. Some speculate that this AI-generated fantasy is a calculated distraction, designed to divert attention from serious issues Trump may not want to address directly. By releasing an outlandish video, he generates media buzz, rallies his base, and ensures that discussion revolves around his brand rather than substantive policy matters. Whether this was an intentional strategy or just another example of Trump's penchant for self-promotion, the reality on the ground in Gaza remains unchanged. The humanitarian crisis continues, negotiations remain stalled, and the future of the region is as uncertain as ever. So where does this leave us? The Trump video may be laughable, but the conflict it trivializes is not. It raises questions about how serious Trump is about international diplomacy, whether his approach is fit for addressing complex geopolitical crises, and what his return to power would mean for U.S. foreign policy in the Middle East. Ultimately, while Trump envisions Gaza as his next big real estate venture, the people on the ground are still fighting for survival, for recognition, and for a future that is shaped by their own aspirations, not the gilded fantasies of a billionaire businessman.